So here we are, the British Shooting Show 2019. Doesn't have come around quickly. Some of my older viewers, who are sort of my age and above, will know exactly what I'm talking about. As you get older, it seems that the years just start flicking by quicker and quicker and quicker. It does literally feel like it was 5 minutes ago we were at the last one. But I digress. It was a good day nonetheless. You may have noticed my friend Tom is now working for Thomas Jacks, which is a bit of a double-edged sword for me because he'll always be at the shows, but I could talk to him for like 5 minutes if that, because he's obviously dealing with customers and so on. But as you can see, they resell EOTech now, and I have to say, I mean, you know, I don't know if it has much of a hunting application, but really nice, really good quality, and not as expensive as you'd think either. And they also sell just general stuff. This is like a thermal imager, and I could use that for work, for like looking inside industrial machines for like leaks and stuff. It's it's not always about hunting necessarily. Some of the products they sell are very cool. Here he's showing me some of the Shooter King wares. That's their trousers, which I must admit I really want to get a pair because they're really good quality, and they're about like 90 quid. Which, I mean, for those first ones, which is really cheap, to be honest, for what they are. This is Tom showing off his meat cleaver penknife by Gerber, I think, which is pointless, but I'd still quite like to have one. It's some Blaser R8s. It always seems strange as an Englishman to see a hunting rifle with like a red dot on it, but obviously, as many of you know, in Europe, driven boar and driven deer are very popular. Not so much here, to be honest, but I can see the attraction. Now, this is me at Premier Guns. I went to see Loaded Glam, or Laura Shin, who's very popular and quite, in her own right, getting quite famous now as a trap shooter. And she was just working for them because they give us some sponsorship. And I hung about there quite a bit, actually, because apart from anything else, I could sit down. That's the thing at these shows. You walk around for long enough and you really do feel like your legs are going to fall off. So it was a welcome break. And she was showing me, this shotgun here with this weird stock. And yeah, it was cool, but I found the pistol grip really strange. I can't help but feel the recoil would go into the palm of your hand. But there we are. Now, I think that was Accuracy International, I think. God knows what caliber that is. Maybe 50 BMG, but it was a monster. Yeah, this was Accuracy International. They have a really weird chassis system. I don't know if you guys have actually seen the video on the Green Meanie. I think it's the L96 on Forgotten Weapons recently. But the way they make a stock is really unique. They actually have two sort of metal plates that actually kind of clamp onto the receiver of the rifle, and then the stock is almost like a clamshell around it. It's very unique. It's a very, very good, solid way to make a rifle. Now, this is the Ember Leaf stand. Now, I have to say, I really do like their products. They do a really, really good quality knife with a price to match, unfortunately. I like those skinning blades, very unique. I like the design of them. I think they would actually be very functional. You can see their Regency Regency rifles there every year. For some of you guys who've not had a chance to shoot a semi-auto 2.2 rimfire, or maybe never shot a 2.2 rimfire at all, it's a good opportunity to have a go. It is obviously insanely expensive from my point of view, from someone who shoots, because of the cost of ammo and so on and so forth. But obviously they've got overheads and so on, and if you really want to have a go, you'll pay the price, won't you? But it's a good opportunity if you want to sling a tenner or so at them, or maybe 20. You can have a good old go at that. And you can see here we've got the airgun shooting. This is great to see, youngsters having a go, getting a bit of tuition. It's it's good to see the next generation coming along. This is the Daystate stand. Those rifles just there, and these ones coming up here for our American friends. These have an electronic trigger and release mechanism, which means when you fire them, it's kind of like clicking a mouse, and the regulator in the rifle is electronic. So rather than having something mechanical that's regulating the pressure, you actually have a computer which is deciding how much pressure to release for each shot. And it means, I'm surprised this hasn't become popular with real rifles, electronic triggers, because it really solves the bullpup trigger problem, because it is just like clicking a mouse. Now this thing here, that pistol there, I've ever shot myself here, the SMK Artemis, that is a beast. and I really fancy one because they're like 200 quid, and yet you've got they're like a hair under the legal limit of £6 foot. It's a true PCP with a proper power curve, and like I said, 200 quid. You just can't go wrong with that. Now this is the BSA stand, going through the iterations over the years of the R10s, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, and they've got this new one out now, and you may see that it is really just more of the same, to be honest, maybe a bit more air, but just a bit nicer and more refined really, and obviously again a bit of a price to match. I always find it strange though with people in the UK who are obsessed with really high capacity air rifles, because if for hunting anyway, because you just don't need that much pressure. You only need like 20 shots in a session, so why have a massive bottle? But that was the Tikka T3 or T2X, is it? The T2 rimfire. And it's brilliant, it's a fantastic idea. You've got what is essentially a full-size Tikka T3X like mine, but as a rimfire. And the price is pretty competitive compared to most other rifles like that. You're talking about 500 quid, thereabouts. But you can bet being a Tikka, it is going to be fantastic to shoot. That said, for me personally, that's one of the things that appealed to me about my Browning T-Bolt, is that because it's so little, it's quite handy. So although it might be nice to have a full-size rifle and it's just the same, only with a 2.2, it's also quite nice to have something you can throw around. Here we have it back at Premier Guns. You can see that gun has obviously been quite finished for some reason. I did ask Laura why that was, but I don't think she knew, to be honest. Now this is interesting. This is an M1 carbine in 2.2 rimfire, and as far as I can tell, I was looking at it for a while, but I do think that is all steel. There's no plastics in there, and that is I've not shot one, but as far as I can gather, it is a true representation of an M1 carbine in 2.2. I mean, sure, yeah, the gas system won't work because it'll just be a blowback operation, so that big old handle flying back and forth is just for show. But that's very cool, isn't it? If they could just do one in 2.2 Magnum, that'd be even cooler, because a 2.2 Magnum, I mean, yeah, it's not as fast, as powerful as a 30 carbine cartridge, but it's pretty bloody close, pretty decent anyway. And yeah, that would be cool. Even I would consider buying one of those in 2.2 Magnum. Here we are back at Emberleaf again. I came back because I wanted to enter their competition, because they were giving away a free knife. Me, I'm kind of a bit obsessed with knives, to be honest. And it was £5 spent, so yeah, that one there. And I didn't get a phone call or anything on the Sunday, so I think it's fair to assume that I lost. Which is annoying, because I did say to them, I said, look, if I win, I'm going to give you a fantastic review, but clearly that didn't work as a bribe. In fact, they probably threw my ticket in the bin. Now, this guy selling like these mounts for your phone, for your scope. Brilliant idea. Looks really good. Some of them use a prism type system, like you can see there. So you can actually use the scope naturally, and then your phone or whatever is just sort of stuck to the side. But I think I annoyed the guy a bit, because I was looking at the price tag and I'm like, this is £400. And I said to him, I bet you're not selling many of these, are you? And he sort of didn't really want to commit. But I'm like, how many people really are going to want a product like that? Because we're in the UK. If you counted all the YouTubers in the UK who make shooting videos where they're actually trying to film what they're killing, if I was really generous, I'd say it was maybe 100, but I bet it's a lot less than that. So outside of those people, who's going to pay for that? I am a YouTuber, and I wouldn't pay that. So why would a normal person who just not even making videos really, just having a bit of a laugh, no, they're not going to invest that kind of money. But yeah, so yeah, I digress. But I think, I think I annoyed him a bit, to be honest. Now this is the Browning stand. You can see the various grades of 525s, I think, there might be 725s. All very nice. I always noticed that. I was at the Browning stand, and they've got a cap there that I was sort of coveting. And I thought, I'd like to buy that. But of course they won't sell it to you, because it's a bit like with Thomas Jacks. They're not there for you. They're there for traders, and to show off their products to the public. But, if I'd gone up to them and said, oh, can I buy that cap? They'd say, oh, yeah, go and find such and such, and, this reseller will sell it to you. But of course, nobody else was actually selling that specific cap, so I just ended up going onto Amazon, to be honest. But yeah, it's a funny one with these shows because, in the United States, they've kind of got around this with the SHOT Show where it's just not open to the public. It's for retailers and for journalists. And for that reason, these products from these big manufacturers like Browning or not manufacturers but importers like Browning or Thomas Jacks or whoever, they can see the market that they're going to, and but I think they've tried that and there just wasn't enough people because it's the UK, isn't it? Anyway, this is the FX line or whatever it's called rifle. I think that is amazing. That is so elegant. It's such a good looking rifle. And as you can see, you can convert it into all these various iterations. If you look at this thing that looks like an AR-15, it's like, yeah, it's all right, but it just looks a bit over the top, really. But the sort of slimline one that they do that changes into different rifles, the entire concept is just really, what's the word? Elegant, really elegant, and yeah, I quite fancy one. To be honest, it'd be nice to have. It'd just be a handy little rifle to have. Unfortunately, of course, it's always the case with these things. It'll have a price to match. This is the Bonham stand, and it's funny because every one of these videos that I do, I always end up at the Bonham stand. But you know what? These guns, I remember one of the first videos I did from this stand, I think it called it Millionaire Shotguns, but they're not actually necessarily that expensive. You'll get guns on here for say $2 or $3 grand. So, I know that's still a lot of money, but these guns aren't 50, 60, 70,000 pounds by any means. And they also have some cool, interesting little things like these pistols and bits and bobs that it's always good to, it's good to have a look. Now, this was a little shooting range for that 6-hour air rifle thing. They do the CO2. A bit pointless, really. It's only about 2 foot-pounds. But again, it's a good opportunity for people to have a go. It's good to get people into the sport. Things like that do bring people into the sport. Now, these are the Gunroom TV guys. I managed to sneak up on them and film them a bit. I think I annoyed them a little bit, to be honest, because they were sort of trying to interview somebody. But it's good to see them around. You can see they've got all their uniforms now. They're doing very well. So that was it. That was a great day. I then had to go and find my car, which wasn't a quick process.